Last time through the order, Alan, they've all pitched very well.
They have pitched well. They've given the team a chance to win. And you kind of start that whole thing out with Ricky Romero, who picked up the one win in New York against the Yankees. JoJo Reyes, maybe his best start of the year in Tampa Bay. Brandon Morrow has been really good and powerful, dominant in his 3 starts. Kyle Drabek, great stuff, needs to command the strike zone, and maybe more than the other guys, Jesse Litch has to stay down.
When you look at the 5-man rotation, they are very diverse in their styles of pitching.
Ricky Romero gets it done with maybe the game's best changeup. JoJo Reyes was down last time, and he has to stay down. Brandon Morrow can be anywhere. He has great stuff, maybe as good as it comes in the game. Kyle Drabek, also tremendous stuff. You see that great sinking fastball. And Jesse Litch has to establish down and stay there.
Ricky Romero is in tough against the Tigers. He's trying to make it 2 wins in a row, but the middle of the order with Ordonez, Cabrera, and Martinez have always been tough on Ricky Romero. He'll have to be on his game here this afternoon. Jamie?
Your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
It is a perfect day for baseball in Toronto at Rogers Center. The roof is open for the first time in this 2011 season. The Blue Jays, with the roof open, have a record of .492 against .432. They're 60 games over 500, and you couldn't ask for a better day. Jim Leyland's Tigers mounted a comeback late last night, but they came up short, lost 7-4 in the first of 4 games. Take a look at Leland's Tiger lineup. Austin Jackson, top of the order. Scott Sizemore has been a spark since he's been recalled from the minor leagues. Middle of the order, take note, Ordonez, Cabrera, Martinez. They have been a real challenge for Ricky Romero for his career. They have hit over 400 against Romero. Peralta, Rayburn, Avila, and Brandon Inge round out the lineup. They are set to face Ricky Romero.
Yeah, Ricky Romero runs out there. We talk about some of the great stuff he's been doing lately, and tell you what, he does it with a variety of means. Buck, the fastball, able to use it around the strike zone. The changeup, obviously a key, along with that curveball.
Ricky Romero on 2 days extra rest. His last time out in New York against the Yankees, he snared a line drive off the bat of Mark Teixeira, and in the process strained an oblique muscle. So they've made sure he's healthy before he starts this game today.
Very fortunate just to have an oblique to discuss after that one.
Take a look at the defense for the Blue Jays. Rivera, Patterson, and Rajai Davis in the outfield. Aaron Hill probably start tomorrow at second base. Until then, John McDonald continues to fill in second base. McDonald making his 10th start at second base. Escobar is at short. Edwin Encarnacion back at third base, and Lynn's at first. Juan Rivera maybe turned the tide of the game in the first inning with 2 outs in the first inning. He and J.P. Arancibia teamed up. Here's the throw to the plate.
His throw high, not one that was cuttable, but a great job by J.P. Arancibia to finish it off. That diving tag with the catcher's mitt that you can hold onto the baseball with, obviously the key.
Bosch was out at the plate. Bottom of the first, the Jays scored 3, and they never looked back. Austin Jackson takes a ball and bounces it right back to Romero. 1 up, 1 down here in the first on a spectacular afternoon at Rogers Center. Boy, it's nice to have the roof open.
First time on the year, and it couldn't be better, Buck. And obviously, you're in a position where you hope to start getting warmer and warmer weather, but gorgeous day after a rather chilly one yesterday.
Blue Jays are 15-17, trying to creep up on that 500 mark. Scott Sizemore, the second baseman. Sizemore was 1 for 4 in a game last night. He drove in a run in the 9th inning. Sizemore was the leading hitter in the International League when he was called up. And Jim Leland brought him up, put him right in the lineup, and he's responded with a .313 average. Pops this one out of play. Tigers as a team hitting just .251, middle of the pack. They've only hit 25 home runs, but I guess that kind of reflects their home ballpark, Comerica Field. Big yard. 2-2.
Nice to be able to get that fastball at the bottom of the knees.
See his numbers for his career in 4 starts, just 1 and 3. He's right back and throws another fastball down.
When you managed, Buck, what did you try to tell your hitters to do when you faced a pitcher who had one great off-speed pitch, the change or splitter?
Try to stay in the big part of the plate or field. Don't try to pull it. Boy, there's that great sinking changeup. First strikeout of the afternoon for Romero. And this is a real challenge now. This meat of the order, 3, 4, and 5 for the Tigers against Ricky Romero.
I get the impression at times with Ricky on the hill that he could holler out he's going to throw changeup and still get hitters. When you see Maglio Ordonez, Miguel Cabrera, and Victor Martinez coming up, you hope that it's with nobody on base.
Ordonez with nobody on and 2 outs, and hits it to Lind and makes a good play. He'll take it to the bag himself, and Romero has a very quick inning. It takes Ricky Romero just 9 pitches to go 1, 2, 3 in the first. Juan Rivera, big day at the plate, big day in the field. Strong throw turned the game around in the first. He'll bat third when we come back. Patterson and Rajai Davis going a little bit. Corey Patterson's been swinging a hot bat. He's still in the 2 spot, but Rajai Davis drops down to 9. Escobar will be the leadoff hitter tonight, and Juan Rivera moves into Jose Bautista's slot in the 3 hole. Adam Lynn's average up to 317. Aaron Sebia has moved up to the 5 spot to reflect how well he's swinging the bat right now. Encarnacion Cooper back in the lineup as the DH. John McDonald and Rajai Davis. They are set to face the big power right-hander, Justin Verlander.
Verlander makes his 8th start on the year. He's 2-3. Could certainly be better than that. One of the game's great power pitchers. And against the Blue Jays lifetime, he has struggled. 1-2 in 5 starts, and the Jays have hit .309 against this big right-hander.
It's hard to imagine when you think about Verlander. I mean, he's one of the elite pitchers in baseball. Not only does he throw hard, but he's got the full complement of pitches. Since he came to the big leagues, he has the 3rd highest win total in all of baseball, behind only Roy Halladay and C.C. Sabathia. Verlander's set. Yunel Escobar will step in. First pitch down and away.
There's a pitch. First pitch of the game. Fastball. You're trying to get outside corner at the knees, and when you don't get that call, you wonder, what am I going to be facing with the umpire here this afternoon?
Goes right back to that outside corner and gets the check swing foul. Justin Verlander, truly a frontline pitcher, guy that can set the tone for your ball club, and Jim Leyland's had the pleasure of watching him now for quite a while. This is his 6th season with the Tigers. Escobar gets jammed with that inside fastball.
You look at the defense of the Tigers. Great speed in center field. Austin Jackson. He's a guy that even when he's struggling with the bat can really go get it. The other guys in the outfield, not quite that strength of defense. On the infield, Brandon Inge is an outstanding third baseman. Johnny Peralta has his ups and downs at shortstop. Youngster at second. Cabrera, much better than people might think defensively at first base.
Corey Patterson had 3 hits in the game last night. He's hit .382 over his last 11 ball games. There's a changeup Verlander has added since he's first come into the league. Came into the league in 2005, made 2 starts at the end of that season, but he was a regular in 2006 in that Tigers rotation. He's out ahead of Patterson, 0-2.
A guy like Corey Patterson with all that speed you'd like to have on base as often as possible, and yet Corey tends to be a bit of a free swinger. Swings it, curveballs down in the dirt, fastballs up around his eyes. Sometimes hits one like a big home run in Texas to help the Blue Jays win.
I think that's been the biggest thing in Patterson's career, is he really never got into one particular style. He had a 20 home run season early in his career, and it never really became a on base kind of guy to take advantage of that speed.
Takes advantage of a call that goes his way just off the inside edge. Corey Patterson, if I were scouting him, I would think now this guy could wind up being a first place hitter or a 3 hitter in a lineup depending on how he develops.
There's that changeup, and Verlander strikes him out. 2 quick outs here in the first.
Not many guys are going to develop on that changeup. This is why Justin Verlander strikes out well over a man an inning again this year. Great fastball. We've talked about one of the best in the game. A curveball that's out of sight, and then a changeup, very much like Ricky Romero, that you can be told it's coming and still swing at the arm speed.
Well, Verlander, just like Ricky Romero in his half of the inning. 2 easy outs to start now. Juan Rivera drilled into left field. Rayburn slides over to his left, makes a catch. A quick inning for Verlander. Just 10 pitches for the Tiger big right-hander. We have played an inning here at Rogers Center. No score. We'll look back to last night at Tacoma. Brett Cecil went 6 innings, allowed just 4 hits, struck out 6. Alan, this is an important guy for the Blue Jays, trying to get him right and get him back into this rotation in the big leagues.
Led the ball club in wins a year ago with 15. You need that left arm back.
Miguel Cabrera swings at the first pitch. It's a soft grounder to short. 1 pitch, 1 out. Cecil, we talked to John Farrell about Brett Cecil's start last night. He said it was pretty good. They're trying to get him to use more fastballs. He did that, but he didn't have the same fastball velocity last night as he did in his previous start. But Farrell was optimistic that he's headed down the right path.
Well, you want to see him healthy, and when he's healthy, you figure that that fastball is going to be from 90 to about 93.
Romero handled Ordonez and Cabrera the first time he faced them. Now it'll be Victor Martinez. Well, Martinez is a very good right-handed hitter. The switch hitter much better from this side of the plate.
And back briefly to Brett Cecil. When his fastball is a bit better, it makes the changeup a lot better.
I think you can look at that pitch right there. Martinez didn't think that was a strike. Romero has been good down and away early in this ballgame.
As a pitcher, you just love seeing some early strikes on those edges of the plate, and this one may be below the knees. Thing is, once you start getting calls like that, you hope that you get those same sorts of calls in key situations later in the ball game. Bring the same pitch and you get a ball called, and it sets up a real tough spot.
2 balls and a strike, 1 out here in the second. There's a high strike, and Martinez looks a little baffled right now.
Sometimes that changeup of Romero's is so good that he can just slot it right down the middle at the waist, and hitters still can't handle it.
Two and two. Fights it off on the inside. 94, pretty good zip after that high changeup.
Yeah, 94. We have seen that recently for Ricky, and that's a big plus. But then you factor that in with the way he was working in on the hitter right here. And again, when you come change up away at that point, it's kind of a variance that as a hitter, and only the very best can handle it at all.
Another 2-2 pitch to Martinez. It's jammed again, but fights it off. Well, I'll put Victor Martinez up in that very best class from this side of the plate. When you look at what he's done going back to 2009 against left-handed pitchers, he's hit .327.
I would agree, and I think he's a thinking hitter. And obviously the Blue Jays right there thought, yeah, let's come right back in again on the hands with the heat.
Tried to turn that fastball over, and Martinez laid off.
Makes you think a bit of Kyle Drabeck, where he gets that sinking fastball at 93.4, occasionally 95. This is sinking fastball at 93.
Drabeck pitched in Ricky Romero's spot on Thursday afternoon in St. Petersburg. Cut on and missed. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Romero.
And you see with Ricky Romero, that changeup at 87, you don't have to take a ton off of the changeup to be effective. What you want to do is force the hitter to see the speed of the arm be the very same as the fastball. You trust your grip, take a little bit off, and the hitter is just in front.
2 outs now. Johnny Peralta was 2 for 4 in last night's game. He scored a run and drove 1 in. Tigers shortstop. It's a fastball on the inside corner.
How many times as a catcher, Buck, did you hear a pitching coach through the years say to a pitcher while working on whatever form of change they threw, trust the grip?
Just go ahead and throw it. That's what fools the hitters, the arm action.
I don't know how this curveball sweeps through there and doesn't catch a piece of plate coming through.
At some point, you have to believe it was in the strike zone. Ball on the strike. Comes right back, and Peralta's late. Ricky Romero, Justin Verlander. Figures to be a pretty good pitching matchup. Romero looks healthy. That's good news for the Blue Jays. He's pitching on 2 extra days of rest. Tried to bury that curveball and did in the dirt.
I would imagine these early innings have John Farrell and Bruce Walton looking very closely to make sure they don't see anything that would alert them that there's a problem. You don't want an injury like Ricky has had, though it's been very minor, to develop into anything larger.
Broken bat to third. Encarnacion on the money, and Romero has another 1, 2, 3 inning. Ricky Romero's retired 6 straight. We played an inning and a half on a beautiful day at Rogers Center. On TV, you can always get the game on Sportsnet Radio to Fan 590, fan590.com, and across Canada on the Blue Jays Radio Network. Jerry Howard, the longtime voice of the Blue Jays, 30th year broadcasting the Blue Jays on radio, is joined today by a very colorful Greg Zaun, decked out in a very appropriate shirt, given the fact this is the first open-air game of the season.
And it would appear that Greg Zaun has been dealt beverages of his choice here on the afternoon.
So Alan Ashby moves from the radio booth up to the TV booth as Pat Tabler's away for the weekend, and we are very pleased to have Alan on board. Adam Lind in his 32nd game of the season, and boy has he been swinging a hot bat. Riding an 11-game hit streak, 2 for 5 in last night's game, including his 7th home run of the season. On the ground, but Sizemore is there. Lind's retired. The way things look, Alan, starting this game, hits might be hard to come by today.
You've got 2 of the game's outstanding, and I'll say young pitchers. Justin Verlander, who it seems has been around for a decade, is still just 28 years of age.
Yeah, I mean, first big season, 2006, came up and made 30 starts that year. A number 2 pick overall, first pick of the Tigers in 2004.
Yeah, I don't know what the development of his pitches might have been at that time, what sort of assortment he had, but he is dealing right now in terms of major league pitchers as good a stuff as anybody.
And that's a cut fastball he's had over the last couple of years. He's added that. Came to the big leagues with a hard fastball and a real hard breaking ball, but everything was hard.
I always felt like if a pitcher that I was facing threw hard and had some form of a changeup that he could throw for a strike with it, it was just about over.
Aaron Sebia, a big bounce for Inge at third base. He's got a strong arm, and retires Aaron Sebia. 2 outs. You talk about premier pitchers, and you can include Justin Verlander in that conversation. Since 2006, when he came to the big leagues, he's 3rd in wins behind a couple of pretty impressive pitchers.
And no surprise there with Halladay and Sabathia. My surprise might be Derek Lowe in there. And of course, there's always injuries. Guys are held out, but those are very impressive names.
Derek Lowe took a no-hitter into the 7th inning last night. How about that pitching matchup? Cliff Lee and Derek Lowe.
Cliff Lee strikes out 16 and loses a ball game.
Gets a hang with him.
Yeah. Can I get you an extra bar of soap for the shower?
Encarnacion on the ground. Inge has a lot of time. These two guys are pitching like they got early dinner reservations. Just 7 pitches for Verlander in the second. Still looking for our first base runner. Segment is made in Canada, and we look at the organization, the Tigers. They've got 3 Canadians in their organization: Cale Orge, Max St. Pierre, and Scott Thornton. They're all at AAA Toledo right now. Cale Orge was born in Toronto in 1985. Of course, his father, Garth Orge, was a player in the 80s with the Blue Jays. Scott Thornton, a former #1 pick of the Atlanta Braves. Played on the 2008 Olympic team. Kyle Orge played at Alabama as a freshman, and then went on his Mormon mission for 2 years to Portugal. He and Alex Avila were teammates at Alabama.
Remind those kids that when they get to Detroit, go south when you want to go to Canada.
There's Avila, and he has really taken over as the everyday catcher here early in the season.
It's hard to find that catcher that swings a big bat. Blue Jays still developing J.P. Arancibia, but he is developing, and we're seeing great swings. And I think what the Tigers have seen with Avila is a guy that can drive it and obviously drive in runs as well.
Avila has 21 ribbies. Always pop back out of play.
I think if J.P. Arancibia starts playing on a more consistent basis and continues to hit in one of the RBI slots in the batting order, I think he's going to drive in a bunch of runs. Now, I don't know if it happens this year, but I think he'll get his share.
He's hit in the minors consistently, and he has shown power at times here in the big leagues. I think it's more difficult for a catcher to adjust to big league baseball than any other position, given his responsibilities.
The responsibilities on the catching side are enormous, and you know well that if you get a catcher that can swing the bat, but he shirks the defensive side, pitching staff will not buy in at all.
Well, he won't play on a good ball club, that's for sure. 1-2. And that's the one thing John Farrell pointed out very clearly to J.P. Arancibia. As soon as Farrell was hired, I expect my catcher to take pitching as a priority.
And right from the start of spring training this year, that was the story with Arancibia. When I talked with him, I'm sure it's the same with you, he talked about defense. In fact, as he struggled throughout the spring with the bat, I was tickled watching as some reporters would come up and ask him about the struggles he's had, the slump he's in with the bat, and he looked quizzical, as if to say, what are you talking about? As if he was completely unaware.
There's a base hit into left center. Rivera over to cut it off. Rayburn makes a big turn. He'll stop and go back. Now let's take a look at the scouting report for Ricky Romero, brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Ricky Romero piling up the K's lately. 10 against Tampa Bay, 7 against the Yankees in recent starts. And he's out there to win, obviously. He'll give you just the great effort every time. He'll shut down running games. He's so quick to the plate. Very tough to run on Ricky.
Got that excellent changeup that's always his out pitch. So we have the first base runner of the ball game here in the third. The leadoff man's aboard. The catcher, Alex Avila. 0 for 4 last night. Bounced off his foot. That's going to leave a mark. You know what the reaction is in that Blue Jays dugout? Barking dogs.
Yeah, I think for fans, you see this happen so often, and you think, oh, come on, get back up and let's get to hitting. Go out in your garage, pick up the ball peen hammer, and take a whack at your foot and see how things feel.
Yeah, and sometimes you suffer injuries, and Dustin Pedroia did the same thing last year in San Francisco against the Giants during interleague play and missed most of the second half of the season.
And it can lead to further injuries. I mean, plantar fasciitis, a number of things can come up as you bang that foot or the shin.
Matt Williams of the Giants did the same thing, knocked himself out with a broken bone in his foot.
I used to beat up my shins. I don't know if you had that sort of problem from either side of the plate. And it got to the point where as a father of young children who like to get on your feet and ride around on your legs, I just couldn't take it. I mean, it just would destroy me.
I never hit the ball hard enough to hurt myself.
Yeah, I'm not buying in. I've seen the real scouting report.
Ricky called for a balk, got into his set position, and then he stopped. Sometimes that happens, Alan, when a catcher is flashing signs and the pitcher anticipates the sign before he really sees it.
Yeah, and JP is set to give the sign, starts putting him down, and there was a little flinch there for Ricky prior to getting that foot off the rubber. You see that so many times. You anticipate, you don't get the one you wanted, and your body flinches.
So Rayburn moves to second on the balk. That was quite a point of discussion in Fenway last night.
Terry Francona would agree.
Francona was ejected when he came out to argue a balk, and that's an automatic ejection, and that led to a terrible, heated argument with Francona and Joe West. Look out. That ball slipped out of Romero's hand and hit Avila on the back. So the first two aboard here in the third inning.
That's your basic launched curveball. It just comes out of the hand too early. It doesn't bite at all, and no hitter that has been around the game at all is going to argue about that.
Yeah, Avila, you can see he saw the ball coming out of his hand. All he can do is duck and get out of the way. It hits him in the top of the back. So this is a tough spot for Ricky Romero. He retired the first 6 he faced here in the ball game, and then the leadoff base hit, now hit batter.
One of those situations here where Aaron Sebia comes out in front of the plate and tells his infield what he's doing in the event that the 2 runners go. The options being throw to third base, throw to second base, or no throw at all.
Tigers have plenty of options here with Inge batting. He shows bunt, pulls the bat back, throw to second base in time. Rayburn got tagged on the back. What a good throw by Aaron Sebia.
This is perfect. Now, a lot of people would say, well, why not put the perfect throw down on the bag? I say above the knees, on up toward the waist, where you give the infielder a chance to glove it and snap that tag down, and you, at the same time, don't have the runner interfere with the throw. That is a perfect throw in my book.
Well, that's a tough one for a base runner. You can see, boy, it looked like he was on the bag before he tagged him.
Yeah. You got a trailing umpire, and a lot of times you'll find when those calls get missed like that, the umpire is trailing the play.
Jim Leland, very short visit to Dan Iasonia at second base. Aaron Sebia's throw was a good one. 1 out. Different complexion to this inning with that pickoff at second. Two balls and no strikes. Boy, that's tough when a batter bunts at a ball, pulls the bat back, and that base runner at second takes that extra step toward third.
You know, I was one of those slow-footed catchers, and as a base runner at second base, even at first in the National League, you had pitchers trying to bunt you over, and they bunt right through it. And as a slow-footed catcher, you're trying to extend your lead secondarily as much as possible. As the walk comes from Ricky, and it just sets you up to get picked off by a catcher. It's a very tough scenario.
Yeah, and obviously pitchers aren't that consistent with their ability to bunt. They'll bunt right at the ball, and you have a good view, especially from second, and say, well, he's going to bunt this one, and you take that extra step, and sometimes you go too far.
As the meeting goes on at the mound, I had a quick thought about guys that would stand at the plate and put the bat out in a bunting position. Tim Foley with the Pirates back when Omar Moreno was stealing a lot of bags, where he'd put the bat right out in front like he was going to bunt, and then as the pitch would come in, he'd drag it right back to the catcher's eyes. And for me, it was the biggest detriment to being able to get out and throw quickly. As a manager, I highly recommend that to two hitters to be able to utilize to help their leadoff men steal bags.
Very much of a distraction for sure. Top of the order, Austin Jackson takes a strike. Boy, Ricky Romero was firing nothing but strikes in the first two innings, and then here in the third, a little bit of trouble with the strike zone. He's hit a batter, he's walked a batter, and he's given up the first base hit of the ball game. Again, misses inside.
Still throwing hard with it at 93.
Remember, Ricky Romero's got a couple of extra days rest. Probably a little bit stronger than he's used to on his 5-day rotation.
The types of pitchers that benefit from being strong can be the Brandon Morrows of the world. They're humping that four-seamer. They love to see 97, 98 hitting the board, and if they're high in the strike zone, so be it. They'll get a lot of strikeouts there, but guys who don't throw that hard, I think it can be a real problem. Ricky Romero and others that we've mentioned on the Blue Jays staff have to thrive on being down around the knees.
2-1. Fouled off. Well, that's when Romero is at his best, and you mentioned it. The ability to throw fastballs to both sides of the plate really complements that great changeup.
Working in between starts, a guy like Romero and Jesse Litch, who we saw last night, Kyle Drabeck. It's really all about not only getting that arm loose and ready for the upcoming start, but hitting those corners at the knees.
2-2, 1 out. Bounce through the left side. Rivera charges. They're going to throw up the stop sign. They saw this act before. In last night's game, Rivera got a similar ball hit to him with 2 outs in the first. He threw a ball to Aaron Seavey, who tagged out Brennan Bosch to end the first inning.
You see Ricky right here deliver that standard ground ball that can either be the double play or the base hit depending on location. So like real estate, it is all about location right here, and the way Rivera charges here, that's one of the biggest stoppers for third base coaches. Great arms will do it as well, but that charging outfielder I should say, makes the third base coach really rethink the send.
Gene Lamont, the veteran third base coach, long time a Leland lieutenant. A ball and no strikes, bases loaded. The fastball on the inside corner. Scott Sizemore, we mentioned he had an RBI that came in the 9th inning when the Tigers scored 3 runs on 4 hits. They were aided by an error off the glove of Escobar. Boy, Ricky's just having a tough time finding that strike zone again.
It comes and goes. It's rare, I think, for a starting pitcher to go 7+ innings and have it every inning that he runs out there, have that command right at his disposal.
What can Aaron Seavey do to help him out?
There are times I think that providing just a little extra time can, sometimes just a particular look from a catcher in terms of the setup can help. That kind of look doesn't help when the catcher looks like he was completely crossed up and now goes to the mound. I don't know if JP gets crossed up here, but my hunch is when you see a catcher flip that glove that direction and the body be that out of position, something was wrong in terms of the communication on the signs.
Yeah, it looked like they had crossed up. Aaron Sevilla wasn't sure to go palm up, palm down with the glove, and it almost got by him.
With a legit cross-up, that's a pretty good job to hang on right there.
Bases are loaded, 1 out on a 3-1 pitch. He walked in a runner. So the Tigers score first on the bases loaded walk issued by Ricky Romero.
One of the things I love most about Ricky Romero that makes him an ace on a staff, even though he doesn't have a 95+ heater, is his heart. He competes so strongly every time he runs out there.
Well, now he has really put himself in a tough spot. Ordonez, number 3 hitter. That goes off the glove. That's going to score another run. Things are really out of sorts here for Romero and Aaron Sevilla early in this ballgame.
Yeah, I don't think JP has any comment here about being crossed up. See what this one looks like with JP. Oftentimes for me, that pitch to my left as a catcher from a left-handed pitcher was the most difficult to handle, but I don't know if JP maybe thought this was going to hit the leg of the hitter.
Ball just sailed off his glove, but it's charged to Romero as a wild pitch. Romero's just got to figure out a way to get out of this inning and leave those 2 extra Tiger runners on base.
I don't know if that's a fair assessment as a wild pitch when, as a catcher, you can get your glove to a pitch in the air. I think you should suck that one up.
Ground ball to short. Another run will come in. Ordonez has retired, but he picks up the RBI with the ground out to short. It's 3-0 Detroit.
That ground ball's a pass ball or wild pitch, whatever you prefer. Too late. Otherwise, a double play to get out without this extra run. In fact, 2 runs difference.
Cover's been in the way, but the long man starts to loosen up. He has been outstanding in his role. Cabrera late on a fastball. Boy, this inning started with a single to left, a hit batter, and a walk. And then you turn the lineup over and you're asking for trouble. Two.
You're also asking for trouble when you give the opposition 3 early runs and Justin Verlander's opposing.
Two and 1 to Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera, the big first baseman, was 0 for 3 with a walk in last night's game. He grounded to short his first time up this afternoon. Big bouncing ball to third. Encarnacion throws, and Cabrera is retired. Romero finally gets out of the 3rd inning, but the Tigers put up a 3 spot. 2 hits, a hit batter, and a couple of walks. Verlander has an early lead. of the game, and then in the third inning, things kind of fell apart for him. He gave up 3 runs on 2 hits. He had a balk, he walked 2, and hit a batter. Now let's check out the scouting report for Justin Verlander.
Justin Verlander, he makes so much out of great stuff and easily can do that. 51 Ks, second in the American League, 9.5 for 9 innings. He's a workout horse on this ball club. He goes out there and averages 116.5 pitches a game, 8th in the American League in innings pitched. And he can be run on this year. He's allowed 5 stolen bases in 6 tries, so that's a big part of what the Blue Jays try to do offensively.
He was the Tigers' #1 pick in the 2004 draft, the 2nd overall pick in that draft. David Cooper back in the DH spot. Cooper did not start the last 2 games with David Price and Phil Cope, 2 left-handed starters going against the Jays. There's a changeup at 84 miles an hour, very effective pitch with late movement.
Most of the guys who throw that circle change version have a tendency of pronating the arm inward. It creates a little bit of that screwball-esque spin, and you get that sinking action.
Popped up into shallow center field. Austin Jackson comes in and calls off Peralta, makes the catch. Verlander is retired 7 in a row. You look back to that draft in 2004. Matt Bush was drafted by the Padres, then Verlander. #3 was Phil Dumber of the Mets at that time. Some names we have seen recently. Jeff Neiman was the 4th pick of Tampa Bay. First pitch straight to John McDonough.
Well, that's some pretty effective scouting. Now, those are probably some easy guys to scout, but at the same time, they don't always project out.
You just never know where they're going to end up. You look at some more names in that first round. Jared Weaver was 12th by the Angels. Billy Butler of Kansas City was 14th. Stephen Drew was 15th. And the Blue Jays took David Percy in the 16th spot that year.
Pitching tends to go early. You wonder on a guy like Jared Weaver, is that enormous crossfire where he strides well to the right of the line directly to home plate. Does that factor into scouts where they say, well, I don't know if this arm is going to hold up? Often very difficult. I played with Dennis Eckersley early in his career, and a lot of people thought he would hurt his arm.
Well, there's a good fastball. It's just the 2nd strikeout for Verlander. He gets McDonald looking.
And looking on a fastball right through the heart of the plate. But after seeing the other pitches, you get caught looking for the change or the curve or the slider. And then that fastball just shoots right through the heart of the plate. But back to Dennis Eckersley. It kind of worked out in the end.
I would say so. Both as a starter and a reliever. He's just a Hall of Famer now. Rajai Davis batting in the 9th spot. John Farrell moved him down in the order, trying to free him up a little bit, see if he can't get something going with the bat.
So you get Verlander falling behind 1-0, and what do most hitters look for? They look for the heat. And then there comes that little slick slider breaking down and away, and gives you almost no chance when you start guessing.
Came right back with it.
Tough to lay off, too, especially if you're guessing fastball. You turn your dial up, and that dial gets you in trouble.
2 balls and a strike, 2 outs here in the 3rd. Stays right with it, goes away again.
Got a hunch what the book for the Tigers might be on Rajai Davis.
Throw him some spinners.
Thing about Major League Baseball is that book gets around with the scouts at the ballpark every day.
Throw him a fastball, and obviously Davis was late. Trying to stay alive with 2 strikes here. And the scouts say don't miss a beat. Stay around, watch every pitch. The good scouts will watch the side sessions in between. Curveball, he gets a piece of it. This is truly the kitchen sink, and it's a high-level kitchen sink for sure. I mean, he has quality pitches and a wide assortment of them.
He's got the type of arm that he could probably throw the kitchen sink and get somebody out.
Left that one up, and it's popped up. Inge near the foul line makes the catch in fair territory. And one time through the order, Justin Verlander is perfect. Blue Jays still looking for their first base runner. Tigers lead at 3-0 on a beautiful day at Rogers Center. Has all your baseball coverage 24/7. Live chats during the game, fantasy pools, and great writing from Shi Davidi, Mike Wilner, and Scott Carson. I'll be answering questions on there as well every week. All that and more on sportsnet.ca. You can always read great commentary on the Blue Jays and what's going on around baseball by our beautiful stats man, Scott Carson, up here in the booth, helping us out every single broadcast. Sportsnet.ca columnist.
One of the game's great minds.
I wouldn't go there. He can write a little bit. I enjoy reading it every week. Keeps you up to date, lets you know what's going on. And he'll give you his opinion as well. Victor Martinez struck out on a changeup his first time up. Ricky Romero looking to get back into the groove. Boy, he came out fire and strikes the first 2 innings. Got all of his pitches over, then hit a pothole in the 3rd. Big bounce at 3rd for Encarnacion. Right on the money. Martinez is retired.
Yeah, Ricky, and we've talked about it, so sharp in the first couple of innings, and he knows it was on his back in the 3rd inning, the 3 runs in that frame to go along with a couple of hits. A hit batter and 2 walks, a wild pitch that could have gone either way, but obviously Ricky's got to stay away from that wildness.
And you can factor in a balk as well. A little bit of everything in that inning. Johnny Peralta, the shortstop, goes after the first pitch. You've been involved in balks like that where you start to put a sign down, and whether it's your indecision or the pitcher's anticipating a call, that happens a lot more than you might expect.
It does, and sometimes it can be the catcher's fault, but oftentimes it's simply the pitcher anticipating poorly.
Pitcher will have a pitch in his mind, and he'll see the signal go down and just imagine that he's seeing a particular pitch, start his set position, and then realize that's not what the catcher called. Boy, there's a good changeup. What a great movement down and away.
Yeah, you know breakfast is on the table, and so what do? Immediately you reach for the orange juice or whatever your choice of drink might be, but it's not there, and you realized you flinched a little bit, and that's what happens to the pitcher.
1-2. Cued off the end of the bat. We had talked in our open about how good the starting rotation has been last time through the order. That includes Romero's last start against the Yankees. He beat Freddie Garcia and the Yanks in the Bronx. Third ball missed downstairs. 2-2. Jojo Reyes had a good start against Tampa Bay. He was looking at his first win. And then the ninth inning comeback by the Rays and the 2-run home run by B.J. Upton robbed him of that win. Brandon Morrow beat Tampa Bay in his last start. And Jesse Litch was great last night. Litch established a new career high with 9 strikeouts in just 6 in the third innings of work.
That Upton home run, the road trip killer.
There's a drive to left field. This ball is hit hard. This ball is gone. Johnny Peralta, his second home run of the season, a line drive into the Blue Jays bullpen in left.
And watch location. It's not always the case, but certainly can be in this game when you have hitters jump on it like this, squaring it up. See if we get a peek at that pitch. Ricky just leaves it up in the inner third, and hitters will talk about during batting practice what they want to do with that up inner third pitch.
It's like a breaking ball, and that's exactly what you want to do with it. Go up there and get it. Peralta's second of the season. It's 4-0 Tigers. Ryan Rayburn fouls it off. Rayburn got the first hit of the ball game. His first time up. That started that 3-run rally in the third. Ball and a strike. That's hit hard to left field. Rivera on the run. This ball is off the wall. Rayburn around first. He'll stop at second. Ball hit just the top of the wall in left center. Back-to-back hard hit balls here in the fourth. That's the 8th double for Rayburn this season.
If you're going to get yourself turned around as a pitcher, this is where you want to do it. You have to feel very fortunate that this ball stays in the yard. If Ricky can mount that return to form here that he saw in the first couple of innings and not allow the Tigers another run here in this fourth inning, you feel like you've done your job.
Rayburn's at second with 1 out. The catcher Alex Avila was hit by a pitch his first time up. Well, you make a great point now, and Rivera has to maintain his focus and not worry about the Rayburn double. Just try to get the second out of the inning with Avila at the plate.
Talked about the Tigers pitching last night, 4 early runs against them, but then it shut down. And I think Jim Leland would say, well, that's good pitching when you limit the number of runs, even though you do give up 4 early runs.
You get into an American League game, I don't care what division you're talking about, but most clubs are capable of scoring 5, 6, 7 runs in a particular ball game. Last night, Leland's team mounted a 3-run comeback in the ninth, just a little too late.
Yeah, that standard belief being you need to score 5 runs a night to give yourself a chance to win in the American League. Pretty good looking pitch.
Yeah, Romero thought he had thrown a strike, but Jerry Meals has been kind of challenged over the last couple of innings with Romero's inconsistency. Rayburn's at second, taking a big lead. Fouled back.
Yeah, I think even umpires, home plate umpires, like to get in a rhythm where they can call strikes. But when the location's not being hit, the catcher's reaching one side to the other away from where he's setting up, it looks bad. And umpires really very much prefer, even though you might think of it, well, just call the strike zone. They don't want to look bad to everybody who sits in the ballpark sitting on one side or the other when that catcher's reaching all over.
Yeah, they have a rhythm just like players. And you get a pitcher that's throwing a lot of strikes, they get into a rhythm, they pick up the ball. The timing of the ball getting into the strike zone helps them. And when a pitcher is struggling with his control, it can be a challenge for an umpire. You and I have both been back there enough to know that. 2-2, 1 out. Ball is hit into right field and hit a long way. Rajai Davis is going to watch it into the seats. Home run for Alex Avila. A 2-run shot, his 6th of the season.
It looked like off speed down and in. We've talked about Avila and his power. Though not a huge guy, but as a catcher, what a valuable commodity when you've got that guy that can drive it out of the ballpark. Might have been the changeup down and in. Avila waits long enough and just simply drops the barrel to it. And I think Ricky knew pretty quickly.
Been a rough day for Ricky Romero. 2 home runs in this inning. Back-to-back 3-run innings. Alex Avila off to a great start. Ricky Romero will have a short afternoon. He'll turn things over to the bullpen. 6-0 Tigers. Just 3 in the third. He gives up 5 hits, 6 earned runs. And Alan, was there anything in what you saw from Romero that might suggest he was still feeling the effects of that oblique?
Nothing is my honest response, and I think Ricky would tell you that. He's not an excuse maker. I think Ricky just feels like after 2 very sharp innings, 1-2-3 fashion, the first 2 innings of the game, it just got away from him, and hard to figure. I just don't think we'll hear an excuse.
Well, you hope that's the case, and you just hope that he isn't more injured than we were told. 9 games for Villanueva, and they've been good. He has really pitched better than I think anybody anticipated. Villanueva made 2 relief appearances on this most recent road trip. Popped up. Brandon Inge into foul ground as Lenny stays with it and retires Inge on the foul pop. So Villanueva gets his first batter. That's the second out of the 4th.
Yeah, Ricky's got a long afternoon now to think about things, and that can be, for a major league pitcher, really the worst of times.
I think that is the toughest thing, is the fact that starters especially, they have 5 days to wait around now and think about this. Top of the order, Austin Jackson. He's 1 for 2. He scored a run.
As a hitter, 0 for 4s are tough, no doubt about it, and had plenty of experience to be able to make that statement. But you have the chance maybe to be back in the lineup tomorrow for that pitcher at least 5 days.
Fastball inside.
And everybody asking the questions, are you hurt?
Yeah.
Is there anything lingering with you? What was wrong today?
He looked like a world beater in the first 2 innings. Villanueva, we mentioned his 2 appearances. He went 3 1/3 against the Rangers back on the 27th. Didn't allow a hit. Walked just 1 batter. Breaking ball hammered toward the gap in right center, and that'll get all the way to the wall. Jackson can run around first. He's headed for second, and he'll stop there with 2 outs. Austin Jackson is 2 for 3. That's his 5th double of the season.
You see Villanueva try to stay away on the right-hand hitter, but leaves it up a bit as it gets driven on a line to right center field. Really not up that much above the knees. Really just good hitting, and sometimes you have to lay the credit to the hitters for getting the job done.
Tigers had 8 hits in last night's game. They have 6 already here this afternoon. Villanueva comes right back with a strike to Sizemore. Sizemore, who's issued the bases loaded walk in third. There was some speculation that if the Blue Jays needed a starter, that it might be Villanueva, given his ability to pitch multiple innings. He has started in his big league career. The changeup, that's a fair ball. Long throw from Encarnacion, and Sizemore's aboard. An infield hit on the play. Jackson moves to third.
Yeah, when Edwin, back of the bag in a very tough position for a third baseman, gloves this ball. In my estimation, the only way that Edwin is going to have a legitimate shot to get this out is to immediately plant the right leg and then throw from that strong foundation. As he continues into foul territory, you can't get much on the throw, and again, really no shot at that point.
Sizemore runs too well, and Encarnacion just didn't have another option. Hit all the way. Ordonez takes a breaking ball for a strike. Well, we talked about the meat of the order. Ordonez, Cabrera, and Martinez being tough on Ricky Romero. Facing Romero, they were 0 for 6. 2 outs. Up and away. Miguel Cabrera is 0 for 5 in this series. Two and 1.
Well, I would have to say that Villanueva's coming in with kind of that same lack of command that Ricky saw destroy him in the 3rd and 4th innings.
Villanueva hasn't pitched since the 1st of May. That was in New York. Pitched an inning through just 7 pitches. So you go all the way back to the 27th of April. Villanueva's only thrown 7 pitches in a ball game. And he's a command and a touch and feel guy.
So what did you say to your pitchers when you were managing, or even when you were catching, and you'd hear the excuses because it happens on every ball club? Well, I'm not getting enough work. How can you expect me to be sharp? You know, I've heard some guys say that, well, you can be sharp if you get out there and get the proper work.
You have to create situations for yourself in the bullpen, and I spent a lot of time in the bullpen. And you just create games in your mind. You create situations to replicate what it might be like in a game situation, and you call 3 or 4 at bats as if he were throwing to a hitter.
And they have to be just like a game.
Full count, 2 outs. Sizemore will be on the move at first. There he goes. Drilled into right field. Davis going back makes the catch, and Ordonez is retired. Villanueva strands a pair of runners. But in the inning, the Tigers get 2 home runs. Johnny Peralta, a solo shot to left, his 2nd of the season. And the red-hot Alex Avila, his 6th. He's now driven in 23. It's 6-0 Tigers.
by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
First day the roof has been open, and there's a Junior J having a great time, and that's an extremely Junior J right there. It's Junior J's Saturday here at Rogers Center.
Want to make sure and wear those sleeves when the weather's a little bit cool.
And you got to have the bib on. You never know when you get a little mustard on your shirt. Blue Jays looking for their first base runner against Justin Verlander. Escobar takes a strike. Escobar moved up into the leadoff spot as John Farrell's trying to mix and match until he gets two of his regulars back, and that might even happen tomorrow. Aaron Hill is on his way back from Florida, and Farrell told me before the game that Hill will indeed be in the lineup tomorrow.
I talked to Jose Bautista about that, and he says maybe for tomorrow, but he's not dead certain.
Bautista has been dealing with a stiff neck, and he has received multiple days of treatment. Today he was out on the field going through a lot of physical exercises, throwing, hitting, trying to determine where he's at physically.
Well, obviously great news with Aaron Hill. Until you have Hill and Bautista and likely Travis Snyder in this lineup, you're really not looking at what you projected as the guys that would move this team forward this year.
2-2 to Escobar. Bounce to short. Big bounce for Peralta. 1 out. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. When you think about Rajay Davis was on the DL with a sprained ankle. Hill's just coming off the disabled list. John Farrell didn't have Brandon Morrow in the rotation to start the season. Frank Francisco started the year on the disabled list. When you look at their 15-17 record, I know John Farrell isn't pleased with it, but you have to consider pretty good effort.
And we talked about last night extensively about the road games to this point and the teams played, and you figure the Yankees, Red Sox, Rays, Angels, and Rangers mixed in the schedule early on, and so yeah, I think it's rather remarkable what they've done.
And I love John Farrell's attitude. It's all about winning. He's not here to have a nice competitive team. He's not here to build a future. He's here to win ball games. Corey Patterson struck out against Verlander. It's just foul wide of first. Yeah, you can say that, you're not going to compete this year with the top three in the East, and who's to say? I mean, here we are, 31 games into the season, 32 games now, and you say, well, maybe, but obviously there's a wide gap between the Jays now, where they are and where they want to be.
Look, it happens with some team or another, not necessarily every year.
The pop up Peralta is there. 2 outs.
But we've both been around this game long enough to know that on any given year there may be a surprise team. And with the talent that I assess when the Blue Jays are healthy, and again they have not been healthy together, I could see this talent being one of those surprise teams on a given year like this one.
Can you say Cleveland Indians?
Well, there you go. I don't know that they could project out like the Blue Jays again, given a healthy Blue Jays roster.
Alex Anthopoulos, this time of the year is very busy for general managers. The draft is coming up in a few weeks, trying to figure out how you're going to utilize those draft picks, put your team together. Sure, he's keeping track on his players in the minor leagues, and Brett Cecil and Travis Snyder, 2 guys he's most interested in. Lots of things going on. Juan Rivera lined out to left his first time up. Juan Rivera's had quite a run over the last 2 weeks. That bat's really come around for him now.
He was so cold to begin with. You see the 103 mark there in the first 12 games that he played. 346 in the last 14 that he's played. And he had never had a hit, still has never had a hit against Justin Verlander. And yet he hung out a line shot in his first at bat as an out here on the afternoon. So he's seeing the ball much better.
0-2. Hangs with him and fouls it off.
Start to get some of those power numbers that you saw from Juan Rivera, numbers that you need with an outfielder, corner outfielder.
Well, Rivera's a veteran player. He's a .280 career hitter, so you figure at some point he's going to get back close to .280.
you don't just suddenly fall off the cliff. You slide a little bit before you generally get to that edge.
Bottom of the 4th inning. Slide away outside. Tigers have scored 6 runs on 7 hits. They've hit 2 home runs. Johnny Peralta, a solo shot. Alex Avila, the catcher, a 2-run homer. Boy, Rivera's hanging tough against Verlander.
Sometimes your swing may not look all that good, but sometimes you're really just trying to protect on pitches that at least at first blush to you look like they might be a strike or near the strike zone. So protect away is what you have to do at times.
Curveball on the corner. Verlander took something off. We have played 4 complete. Tigers are up 6-0. Now it's time for an update. Here's Jamie Campbell in the Blackberry broadcast studio here at Rogers Center. Out up at 1:07 p.m. Bring your mom out, treat her to a great day at Rogers Center. Got the roof open today. Hopefully it'll be the same tomorrow. 15,000 pink rally towels will be given away. Plus the moms will be given 5,000 pink roses. They'll be handed out to all the moms in attendance. Call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Treat your mom to a Mother's Day at the ballpark. Carlos Villanueva in his 2nd inning of work. Cabrera, Martinez, and Peralta for the Tigers here in the 5th. Lays off that breaking ball. We've talked about Cabrera and how good he is at the plate. He's a power hitter. He hits over 300. He drives in tough runs, and he's got a good eye. Takes the leadoff walk.
Yeah, there's no questioning the numbers he's put up over his career. One of the game's great hitters. You factor in the power game. You can't play him defensively because he uses all 90 degrees of the field.
And he is a big, strong man. Just turned 28 on the 18th of April.
The one way you can stack up defensively on him is play the infield deep because he doesn't run all that well.
Victor Martinez will bat as a left-handed hitter for the first time. He was 0 for 2 against Ricky Romero. Takes the first pitch strike. Were you surprised Martinez signed as a free agent with the Tigers?
I was. At the time, it caught me completely off guard. I thought, really, Fenway Park set up very nicely for him as a switch hitter. As a left-hand hitter, he has abilities to hit toward the monster. And I thought he fit in very well there as a guy that had a chance to catch a lot.
Ball gets away from Arancibia, and that'll put Cabrera at second base. Boy, Arancibia looked at the baseball, and Cabrera broke toward third. I think the fans kind of got Arancibia's attention.
Well, JP should get his own attention right here, because that's not the right approach on a curveball that you called. You know it's coming, and it's in the dirt. You tell yourself as soon as you call off speed pitch, if it's in the dirt, I'm dropping to the knees, I'm going to square up on it and get the job done right here, and that's just simply not the way to do it.
You see, Cabrera got all the way to shortstop before Arancibia looked him up.
Pretty bold right there when you consider the ball was in the right hand of Arancibia.
1-1. On the ground through the infield into center, and Cabrera is getting the wave around third. He'll come in to score. So the Tigers take advantage of the wild pitch immediately as Cabrera scores the 7th Tiger run here this afternoon.
Just a good hitter, Martinez, from either side of the plate. And you see him just quickly drop that barrel right on the ball, and when he hit it sharply on the ground, any field, let alone the artificial surface here, and I'm not so sure that some of the grass fields aren't just as quick as the artificial surface, but got a good shot at shooting it through.
Run producers have a tendency to elevate their focus with a guy in scoring position, and Martinez drives in his 10th. Johnny Peralta homered his last time up. Jim Leyland at the start of this series talked about his ball club. They had gone through a 7-game losing streak. Lost the first of a 4-game series at home to the Yankees, and then beat the Yankees 3 in a row. He said, we're a little bit up and down right now. But boy, they got a pretty good lineup when you look at the depth of their lineup.
Got some guys in that starting rotation also that would figure to have solid seasons, obviously led by Verlander, and talked about his stuff. Don't need to say much more, but Max Scherzer looks like he's coming into his own.
Scherzer's 5-0. Porcello has evened his record to 2-2. He's throwing the ball well right now.
Phil Koch we saw last night. I think the jury's probably out in that regard as to whether he's a viable 5th starter on that ball club. Brad Penny, the veteran, has had good years, but those good years may be in the rear view.
2-2. Martinez at first. On the ground, this could be 2. Escobar to second. McDonald with the pivot. It is a double play. 6-4-3 on the double play. Peralta hits it right to the shortstop.
And Junel Escobar, you get so accustomed to watching him take some ground balls long distances to the bag and then complete the throw himself. But right here, just kind of settled back in, seemed to know the speed of the runner and didn't try to do too much too quickly.
Ryan Rayburn takes a curveball high. Rayburn's had a good game. He did not start in last night's game. 2 for 2 here this afternoon. Changeup he is out in front of. Ball on this strike, 2 outs, a run in. Tigers lead 7-0. Ball is popped up. Foul territory, land over in front of the Tigers dugout. Rayburn's retired for the first time. Justin Verlander has shut down the Blue Jays dramatically. Jays looking for their first base runner against Verlander. Verlander up to a great start here this afternoon against the Blue Jays. He's had all of his pitches working all afternoon.
He has the big fastball that he can throw for a strike anytime he needs. There's the curveball, and he spots it on the outside edge for the strikeout. His changeup is one of the game's truly dominant changeups. We talked about Ricky Romero. He has, a lot of people say, as good a changeup as there is in the game, but as hard as Verlander throws, that changeup becomes all the more effective.
Jaime Garcia of the Cardinals took a perfect game into the 8th inning last night. He retired the first 22 batters he faced before he issued a walk to Casey McGee. Garcia would end up with a 2-hit shutout. Derek Lowe also took a perfect game into the 7th against the Phillies.
I sense a theme.
Blue Jays looking for their first base runner.
Verlander falls behind, trying to go breaking ball, curveball to start things, and comes right back with it. Spots it for the strike. As a hitter, if you're looking for that pitch, you're not thinking correctly.
1-1 to Lynn. Fastball off the plate inside, 96. Lynn's had success against Verlander. 2 of those 4 hits have left the ballpark. Looking to extend his 11-game hit streak. On the ground, but Cabrera's there. He'll go to the bat. 1 out here in the 5th. Derek Lowe of the Braves left his ball game because of a blister on his right foot, and he was visibly upset, leaving with a no-hitter. Felt like he had the stuff that could finish up the ball game. In that game, you remember, Cliff Lee had 16 strikeouts.
Yeah, of course, that means that guys are trying to win, and they can't take the chance to lose you for any more time, but right now to lose the ball game.
And the Braves have put together quite a run. They have won 6 in a row now, and they are within 3.5 of the Phillies. Well, that's a wicked cutter right there.
A lot of people, including, if I recall correctly, you felt like maybe Atlanta might be the team to beat this year in the National League East.
Yeah, I like the makeup of their ball club. I think with Freddie Freeman over there, Chipper healthy, the addition of Dan Uggla offensively, I think they've put together a pretty good run. Playing with a lot of confidence right now. Speaking of the Braves, Scott Matheson of Vancouver, British Columbia, was called up to replace Roy Oswalt. Oswalt was the scheduled pitcher today. I don't know if Matheson's going to start that game, but he has rejoined the major leagues. He's back in the big leagues with the Phillies. Phillies and Braves will play their game here in Philadelphia today.
Roy Oswalt bothered with a sore lower back, and he's also been home recently because of the tornadoes down in the south of the U.S.
Ball is popped up in foul ground. Cabrera over near the coach's box. 2 pop-ups here in the 5th. Alan, talk about the challenges the hitters have now with those shadows creeping between home and the mound.
Most ballparks will set up where that sun will creep from behind home plate out toward the mound, and it becomes very difficult. Once, as a hitter, you're in the shadows and you're looking at a pitcher who might be in bright sunlight, or even when the shadow extends on out beyond the mound and you're looking into bright sunlight in the seats out behind center field, it just creates a scenario where it's very tough to pick up the baseball.
Verlander doesn't need much help. Right back to Verlander. Gets on it. Cabrera, what a play. As Cabrera stayed with it, he held on to it. Looks like Verlander got hit by that comebacker, stayed with it. John Farrell's going to come out of the Blue Jays dugout and argue with C.B. Buckner.
What a play this is ultimately by Verlander. Quickly on it, realized he had to fire quickly, and then Cabrera, he is better than people realize as a first baseman.
John Farrell came out to argue after the call by C.B. Buckner at first base. Verlander scrambled to make a play, and Cabrera held on with the throw at first.
I think as a manager, you have to be concerned that maybe an umpire is leaning toward a pitcher who has a no-hitter going on right now. A perfect game as we talk about things, but as you see that great work with the camera, the ball beats him. Does Cabrera hang on and secure that ball in time, I guess would be the question.
C.B. Buckner was behind Cabrera, and I'm sure that's what John Farrell was talking about. But it's a moot point now. Cabrera's back on the bench, as are the Tigers, as they're set to hit here in the 6th. Alex Avila with the 2-run home run that knocked Ricky Romero out of the game back in the 4th. Alex Avila's father, Al Avila, is the assistant GM, vice president of the Tigers, and he's been in that position for 10 years. And he's going to be a pretty proud dad. Not only did the Tigers take his son in the draft, but here he is catching every day and doing a job with the bat. It's just high fly ball to left. Plenty of room for Rivera.
The bat has a nice sound even when he gets under one.
Isn't that funny how ball players hear that sound and know that a guy has hit it well?
Yeah. Little audio replay, and what a great sound that is. You come to spring training every year and you start hearing that sound again, and you remember some of the reasons you just love this game.
1 out. And just takes a curveball for a strike. It's a pretty good sound when you're hitting, not such a good sound when you're catching.
Yeah, as a pitcher, it probably wasn't one of the best sounds in the game.
Change up.
I played a lot of golf. I know you did as well. Sometimes coming in and hearing the sound of the baseball off the bat sounded so different from the golf ball off the club that it took some adjustment.
1-2 to Inge.
Of course, didn't spend much time in the woods after hitting baseballs.
When you hit it good, it doesn't matter how good you hit it. And chases a breaking ball. And Sebia tags him. 2 outs here in the 6th.
It's Canada's best-selling car 13 years in a row. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Perfect day for baseball. The roof is open for the first time this year. Change up, grip to left field. Austin Jackson's had a 3-hit day. Boy, he stayed back on that changeup and didn't get fooled at all.
I'm not so sure that Villanueva gives him the good arm speed on this pitch. And as a hitter, when you see anything slow down at all, that changeup becomes pretty easy to see. Watching the replay, that may not have been the case. That arm does whip through there pretty well. So just good hitting by Austin Jackson.
Came into the game batting 194, his average up to 211. Sizemore's picture strength. Boy, there's the point with Austin Jackson you were talking about in reference to Ricky Romero. Now Ricky's got to wait around 5 days to make another start. Austin Jackson was hitting under 200, gets a chance to play again here today, and he's over the Mendoza line. I really think it's difficult to be a starting pitcher. I think the challenges of going through a lineup 3 and 4 times, the understanding you have to have of how you utilize your stuff. You got to know the running game. You got to be a good fielder. In the National League, you got to handle the bat.
I think it might be even more difficult to be Mario Mendoza.
And hit 200.
Always referenced when it comes to poor hitting.
A little flare that'll twist into foul ground. You know, that's a legend, and I remember George Brett back in the day before the internet and the computers and everything else. Everybody used to get box score on Sunday, sit around and have a donut and a cup of coffee in the clubhouse, and he'd always look for Mario Mendoza's name, and it was down there around 200. Oh, 1-2, 2 outs.
Yeah, who's credited with that line? And well, I bet you Mario Mendoza would love to know himself.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And you know, Mario Mendoza is a pretty good player. could play some infield.
One of those guys gifted with the glove,
Yep.
and yet didn't swing a lethal bat, and in the end run, it has certainly come back to haunt him.
Well, at least they're talking about him.
Yeah. They say all good news is good news, huh? Or all news is good news.
Sizemore strikes out to end the 6th. Tigers get a hit. Blue Jays haven't had one against Dustin Verlander. They haven't had a base runner. Perfect through 5. Roof is open. That's the TD Comfort Zone. Enjoying those big comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are individuals from the Junior Jays program. It's Junior Jays Saturday here in a beautiful ball game. Dustin Verlander is pitching a perfect game for the Tigers, and his team leads 7-0. 7 ground ball outs, 5 pop-ups and pop fouls, and 3 strikeouts. The big number for me, he's thrown just 56 pitches through 5 innings.
Just set himself up very well. Now assuming that he didn't get hurt on that hot shot hit by Encarnacion, as he saves the no-hitter at that point.
Edwin Encarnacion hit a comebacker to the mound, and it bounced off Verlander over near the third base foul line. He got on it quickly and made a good throw and got helped out by Cabrera at first. Cabrera dug it out of the dirt. David Cooper. Boy, you can see right now that's a good idea of how challenging it is for hitters, with the shadows completely covering the mound and home plate right now.
As we're getting the reverse look here.
That's popped up a mile high. Shortstop Johnny Peralta. 1 out in the 6th. We talked about Verlander and his great arm, and we have seen an assortment of pitches, but he is among the best with that fastball.
I was so impressed, and I'm sure you were, with Michael Pineda when ball club was in Seattle. This youngster can flat bring it. Verlander, you got to love everything that he brings to the plate. David Price, one of the game's truly outstanding left-handers. Alexei Ogando down in Texas looked very much like Michael Pineda on the hill, and his stuff resembled as well.
John McDonald looks at an outside strike. Boy, that's quite a list of power pitchers there. Blue Jays have seen more than their share of good pitching early in the season.
Yeah, the only name that's not on that list that I was wondering about, that maybe made me flinch a knee, was Brandon Morrow, who has that type of stuff.
Morrow threw 98 his last time out against Tampa Bay, and a consistent 95. Once in a while touched 98. I know B.J. Upton didn't want anything to do with him. B.J. Upton had a miserable day against Morrow. Struck out 3 times against Morrow, and then struck out against Frank Francisco in the 9th. Was ejected after that call by the home plate umpire Chad Fairchild, and he has since been suspended for 2 games.
It's a pretty tough day when you face that grouping of fastballs throughout the course of a game.
Bounced off home plate. Catcher out. Good throw. McDonald's retired.
Justin Verlander was reacting instantly on this ball, and I don't know that he does or doesn't in a typical ball game where maybe at this point he's got a 3-hit shutout. But even on the ball hit by Encarnacion to end the 5th inning, he was on it so quickly. Watch the reaction right here. There he comes immediately, but his catcher makes a nice move and Verlander backs off. But you get the sense that Verlander has a realization of what's going on, and he's going to be a 5th infielder.
2 outs. Rajai Davis. Checks his swing on that cut fastball. Verlander wants the appeal at first. You have been involved with 3 no-hitters. You've caught 3 no-hitters. At what point does the team recognize what's going on?
You know, it depends on the guy on the hill. When I played with Nolan Ryan for 9 years, I think there was a realization sometimes coming off in the 1st inning. I remember teammates coming up and saying, he's got that kind of stuff tonight, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Whereas if it's Ken Forsch, who was the pitcher in the first no-hitter that I caught, you didn't think like that until maybe, say, the 7th inning had been completed. And then you realize, oh, there's a great shot at the no-no here tonight. Mike Scott was the other no-hitter that I caught, and he did that on a clinching day for the Houston Astros, beating the San Francisco Giants. And that's quite a combination when you clinch the division and throw a no-hitter together. His stuff was as good as it got at that point.
I would think that given your situation on that clincher, you weren't as aware of the no-hitter as you were about clinching the division.
You may not guess right there. You know, the no-hitters, it felt like such a, I don't want to use a word like burden, because it was anything but a burden. But it was on me, I felt, to bring that no-hitter home for the pitcher.
It's still intact. Davis hit it sharply, but right to the first baseman, Miguel Cabrera. Justin Verlander has pitched 6 complete innings here at Rogers Center. He is perfect. This is the closest thing the Jays have had to a hit. You can see the Yankees and Rangers on Sportsnet East. That'll start at 8 p.m. Also on Sportsnet Ontario. It'll be Cologne against Derek Holland in that game. Then at 8:30 p.m. on Sportsnet West, the Arizona Diamondbacks will be at San Diego. Daniel Hudson goes up against Dustin Mosley. And at 9 p.m. on Sportsnet 1, Mark Burley for the White Sox against Canadian Eric Bedard in Seattle. Lots of baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. Defensive move. You saw Mike McCoy at third base. Edwin Encarnacion moves over to first. Adam Lind is out of the ball game.
Adam Lind was jogging down to first base on his last at bat as he hit the ground ball to first, and I wonder if something is wrong with Adam, in particular with his legs.
Wonder that, or if John Farrell just felt like it might be an opportunity to get him off the field for the last few innings here.
We recently saw Joe Madden, the skipper of Tampa Bay, take a player off the field because he didn't hustle down the line, and I don't know how John Farrell feels in that regard. Do you go ahead and take a star player off the field when he doesn't run hard? I would probably lean towards something bothering Adam.
The ball in the gap. Davis coming on makes the catch, and Ordonez is retired to start the seventh. Adam Lind had a pop-up down in Tampa Bay, and he kind of turned around and walked back to the dugout, and that was addressed at that time in a situation with John Farrell had a runner at first base, and the game was still much in the air, and then just kind of lost his focus and went back to the dugout, so they addressed that. But I think I'm going to say it's a little more of the 7-0. Let's get him off the field for an inning or so. There's another fly ball to right field. 2 quick outs here in the seventh.
Well, I will say I hope that's the case.
Yep.
You want to keep that bat healthy and ready to be in there day after day.
Lind is the scheduled 4th batter in the 7th inning.
Of course, it's also a hitting streak snapper.
Yeah.
So that's tough to do as a skipper.
Yeah, you kind of wonder what it might be, but you're right. He kind of jogged up the first baseline. Maybe there's something going on physical. But that hit streak will come to an end at 11. Victor Martinez was on the disabled list with a sprained groin. And we're hopeful of being able to avoid that 15-day stint, but he is healthy again and active. And he's going to do a lot of DHing for this team and occasionally play behind the plate and at first base.
As a good switch hitter, I think he makes a very nice DH option for Jim Leyland, and especially when you factor in the way Avila has played behind the plate with his bat.
There's a changeup for a strike. It's 2-1. 7-0 Tigers. Ricky Romero was roughed up by the Tigers here this afternoon. He lasted just 3 1/3. Was charged with 6 earned runs. Two and two. Romero pitching today was 2 extra days of rest. He was scheduled to pitch on Thursday, but because of an oblique strain he suffered during his previous start at New York, he was pushed back. Good breaking ball. Martinez swings and misses. Villanueva has a 1-2-3 7th inning. So the Blue Jays will be the top of the order. Escobar, Patterson, Rivera trying to solve Justin Verlander. Cardinals with Matt Holliday hitting .410 at the start of the game, and Lance Berkman off to a great start with the bat. Giovanni Gallardo. Boy, it seems to come in bunches, doesn't it? Last night it was Jaime Garcia in St. Louis.
Yeah, I was wondering what's in the water that the hitters are drinking right now. Everybody's a little bit tired.
7th inning will be Escobar, Patterson, and Romero. Backhanded by Peralta. 1 out. Well, now you mentioned it, Alan. These Tigers, they're aware of what's going on here in the 7th inning.
And then you see plays like this. A one-hop shot on the backhand side, play made at shortstop. And usually when you look back at a no-hitter, you say, yeah, there were 1, 2, 3 balls hit pretty well. Could have been hits if not for the defense of. And the only thing I would say on this play is, as an infielder, you want to make sure and get in front as often as possible on any play that you can.
1 out. Corey Patterson pops it back out of play. Patterson had 3 hits in the game last night.
By the way, Buck, you talk about Gallardo and the 7 innings of no-hit ball right now. He has walked 4. But he's facing a Cardinals team that has the likes of Albert Pujols, league leader Matt Holliday, and Lance Berkman, who's second. So pretty good lineup to get through.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Casper Wells has come on defensively, taking over in right field for Magdaleno Ordonez. The Tigers have had 6 no-hitters in their franchise history. Verlander has one himself. Verlander threw the last no-hitter on June 12, 2007 against Milwaukee at Comerica Park. Won that game 4-0. Jack Morris threw a no-hitter at Chicago in '84. Jim Bunning at Boston against the Red Sox. That came on July 20th, 1958. 1-2, 1 out. Poked into foul territory. Inge over. He's got plenty of room, and Patterson's retired. 2 outs in the 7th.
It's Canada's best-selling car 13 years in a row. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
A perfect day for baseball at Rogers Center. Beautiful blue sky. Justin Verlander has been perfect through 6 2/3.
Well, Justin Verlander, more than anybody else, has the chance to say it was a perfect day.
Juan Rivera has hit the ball hard. He lined out to left field in the 1st. In case you're wondering if Verlander is tiring, that last pitch was 100.
Starting to get a little, I see the eyes starting to slip down, a little drowsy. Yeah, well, one thing they've been saying about Verlander is the Tigers want him to back off early in the game, not trying to throw quite so hard, because 100 is a number that he sees quite often. And we've seen now as he's getting closer toward the end of this game with not only the no-no but the perfecto in reach, that he is starting to reach back.
Another 100-mile-an-hour pitch, and that was pitch number 78.
That's stuff you don't find very often. I don't care where you want to look. You can talk about great arms, but 100 miles an hour normally only happens rarely out of the bullpen with a guy that pitches 1 inning.
And we're in the 7th with Verlander. 101, and you can hear the rumble in the crowd.
Radar gun starting to leave smoke coming out of it.
3-1, 2 outs. Pop down the right side.
Seeing more fastballs now that Verlander's reaching back and humping a bit.
Now he knows what's going on. Blue Jays haven't had a base runner. He struck out just 3.
It's surprising, the stuff we've seen here this afternoon. But again, He had backed off early in the game, not throwing anywhere near as hard as he now is.
Full count, 2 outs. Romero stays alive. Romero's had good swings at him all afternoon.
An intriguing situation for a catcher and pitcher. You got the perfect game and the no-hitter. Which means more to you? On the 3-2, are you willing to throw a slider to strike a guy out and maybe risk walking him? Verlander goes with 100-mile-an-hour heat.
Haviland never hesitate. Verlander was going to throw what he wants. Right back to Verlander. Perfect game is intact through 7. Just 3 strikeouts. Pitch count is in good shape. He's only thrown 82 pitches through 7 complete. The action will begin at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. That's the pregame show. Jays take on the Tigers, and there will be a special interview with John Roush during the pregame show. JoJo Reyes will go to the mound against Big Brad Penny. Game 3 of this 4-game set against the Tigers right here on Rogers Sportsnet. Carlos Villanueva came in with 1 out in the 4th inning. Pitched 3 2/3 to this point.
Prior to today, the longest for Villanueva on the season, 3 1/3. That was a couple of outings back at Texas, and he was extremely effective. No hits, no runs in that one.
Pushes Peralta back with a fastball. That was in a JoJo Reyes start against the Rangers. That allowed the Blue Jays to come back and make it a close ball game. They actually tied it up in the 7th at 6-6. Blue Jays gave up 6 unearned runs in the 3rd inning. JoJo Reyes was off to a good start. Villanueva came in and held the Rangers down and let the hitters get him back into the game. Peralta stays alive. Spoils a pretty good breaking ball. Ball players are superstitious, and Justin Verlander, he's not going to let anybody talk to him. He goes up that tunnel.
Hitters can't find him, and neither can his teammates.
So when you got those 3 no-hitters, did you sit next to the pitcher and talk about how you're going to handle things?
I'm not even sure I was on the same bench. Yeah, you stay away. And especially when one of the guys is Nolan Ryan. He tended to sit by himself anyway. Very intense. And you just leave him alone.
There's a pop-up that should result in an out. First out of the 8th inning. Justin Verlander has thrown the last Tigers no-hitter. That came in 2007. He's had a perfect game going here tonight. And the big thing about Verlander is his velocity is exceptional. He's only thrown 82 pitches to 7 innings.
Just phenomenal stuff. And to have that ability to bring the fastball up to 100+ miles an hour now at will just says you're talking about a different kind of customer.
I got Jim Clancy, and he took a perfect game into the 9th inning with 1 out. That came against the Minnesota Twins in the first game of a doubleheader. Ball was popped up into center field. Corey Patterson over to his right. He's there, and there are now 2 outs here, Nick.
That leads to the question then as we go back to the previous half inning. Juan Rivera at the plate, 3-2 count. You're in the bottom of the 7th inning. What was more important to you? Were you thinking more in terms of let's save this perfect game, or ultimately the no-hitter really has to take precedence?
Yeah, I think we were thinking about just continuing to throw strikes. Clancy was so good, he could throw a strike at will down and away, and that's where he lived all afternoon.
But by throwing strikes, did that limit you to 1 pitch or any option?
No, we didn't have too many options with Clancy to begin with. He threw fastball, slider, and basically on the outer half of the plate. Randy Bush had a broken bat bloop hit over Damo Garcia's head at second base, and I believe the next pitch was a double play. I think he faced the minimum 27 batters.
Now, had I had Nolan Ryan, for example, late in the game with a perfect game and a 3-2 count, I'm not sure the curveball would have been an option.
I would have just held up my hands and said, Nolan, you throw whatever you want, I'll catch it.
You were that good. I wasn't. But yeah, you know, I think you have to have your priority list, and I think number 1 is winning. And if you're in a 1-0 ball game, then things are even different. Verlander here this afternoon has the benefit of seeing his Tigers teammate put up 7 runs on the board, so he can kind of play it at his will now.
And he's back on the bench. Blue Jays were involved in a perfect game. Len Barker of the Indians threw a perfect game on May 15th, 1981. I had a good look at that one. I was 0 for 2. I didn't make the final out. Ernie Witt pinch hit for me, and he flied out to Rick Manning. But that was some intimidating stuff. And you know Barker. You remember Barker? I believe you caught him.
I never caught him. He came to Cleveland after I had moved on.
But he had a great hard breaking ball, and it was working for him. There's a breaking ball, and Villanueva has been good. He gets Avila with a breaking ball. He has retired 7 straight. Verlander set for the 8th. In 2007, Justin Verlander gets the final out, a fly ball to Ordonez in right. Pudge Rodriguez was his catcher. That's the last no-hitter thrown by a Detroit Tiger pitcher. There have been 6 no-hitters in franchise history for Detroit. Verlander has been perfect through 7.
You saw the jubilation not only from Verlander, but from the teammates, in particular Pudge Rodriguez. And I guarantee you, as a catcher, for me, it felt like it was larger than maybe it was for my pitcher.
That's a good point, and you agonize over every pitch right along with your pitcher, maybe even more so. There's a first pitch lined right to the center field. That's Mike McCoy, who came on defensively for Adam Lind. We have not been informed of the reason Lind was taken out of the game, but McCoy came on, and Encarnacion went from third base to first base. 1 out here in the 8th.
Yeah, Mike McCoy can't hit it any nicer than this. Yeah, that's tough part of this game is those 7 defensive players out there behind the pitcher make life awfully tough on the hitters.
Pierre Encibia fouls it off. There has been 1 no-hitter in this ballpark. That was thrown by the Oakland A's Dave Stewart. On that day, June 29th, 1990, that was the first of 2 no-hitters that day. Fernando Valenzuela of the Dodgers also threw a no-hitter on the same day. And Sebia swings at that ball off the plate inside and fouls it off. 0-2.
Just the mere statement you made. The only no-hitter in this ballpark in all these years now. Just 1, that by Dave Stewart. So you're looking at something very rare here, and then you factor in perfect game, and there just aren't many. 20 in history in Major League Baseball.
0-2. Fastball.
The most recent, maybe being the most painful for Blue Jays fans, Roy Halladay last year in the postseason.
No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out.
Actually, I'll retract. He had the no-hitter in the postseason. He had the perfect game in the month of May last year. What a year he put together.
Roy Halladay took a no-hitter into the 9th inning in his first start here against the Tigers. Bobby Higginson came off the bench and hit a home run for the only hit in that ball game. That was in September of '98.
Did you have the sense that Roy agonized over that one?
I don't think he worried about that for a very long time. Ricky Romero took a no-hitter into the 8th. Alex Rios homered with 1 out in the 8th inning. And then, of course, Brandon Morrow last August 8th against Tampa Bay. Just foul. Sharply hit. Dale Scott standing on the third base foul line. Much easier call from that angle than we saw initially.
You know, and I said 20 perfect games, only 18 of those in the modern era, 20 overall.
Verlander just trying to put away Aaron Sebia with a fastball. That last pitch was 101. Aaron Sebia is putting up a fight.
Well, that's a great battle. When you've seen 101 miles an hour on the previous fastball, a 2-2 count, and you're able to get a piece of that slider to follow.
I can tell you one thing, nobody wants to be no hit. When we were up against Len Barker, there was everybody in the dugout trying to come up with a scratch hit, a line drive, do anything. You don't want to be no hit, that's for sure.
Good looking at bat for J.P. Arencibia.
Great at bat. Full count, 1 out. Perfect game. 7 in the 3rd.
Right back to, yeah, I was going to say right back to 3 bills on the speed of that fastball and still getting a piece.
Yeah, when Aaron Sebia is sitting with his grandkids many years from now, he can say, yeah, I was taking that 100-mile-an-hour fastball and just fouling it back.
Yeah, but Dad, what did you do ultimately? Well, the story yet to be told.
First base runner of the ball game. There goes the perfect game.
Got to hand it to Jerry Meals. It was a close pitch, but a pitch that appeared to be off the outside edge. And I think for even umpires, there's a tendency to get caught up in the moment.
Came with the fastball, and you're right. Jerry Meals gave it a good look, but clearly off the plate. Aaron Sebia battled tough.
See what he's got now out of the stretch. First time on the afternoon.
Breaking ball down and away. One out. There's a strike. Aaron Sebia, 12 pitches in that at bat. First base runner for the Blue Jays. On the ground. Peralta, second to Sizemore, back to first, double play. So the Blue Jays get a base runner. The perfect game is gone. And Verlander looking into Jerry Meals. Little smile on his face. Still a no-hitter. Through 8 innings. He walked J.P. Arancibia, but then got the double play off the bat of Edwin Encarnacion. He will take a no-hitter into the night. John Farrell, a terrific relief job by Carlos Villanueva. Now he goes to the bullpen and calls upon Casey Jansen. Villanueva, 4 2/3 innings of 4-hit shutout relief.
Carlos, 69 pitches, 39 of which were strikes, and very effectively utilized.
He gave up the 1 run that came in the 5th inning after a leadoff walk. Casey Jansen, he too has thrown the ball very well. Jansen making his 13th appearance. Number 9 hitter is Brandon Inge.
Intriguing shot, Buck, of Justin Verlander going off the field after that double play to end the inning and turning toward the home plate umpire Jerry Meals and smiling and having a little conversation, maybe saying, hey, that was close enough with a perfect game on the line.
It was quite a battle, Aaron Sebia and Verlander. And
referring to that walk pitch on JP.
2-2. Here's what Allen's referring to here after this pitch. Ball 4. Just off the plate, and then after the inning.
Yeah, what do you say? Come on, man. Don't you want to be a part of history?
Jerry called it as he saw it. Saw it off the plate. And called it ball 4. Three-2. We'll get into the seats down the right side. Tigers lead 7-0 here in the 9th. 3 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, a single run in the 5th. Leadoff walk issued to Brandon Inge.
It's Canada's best-selling car 13 years in a row. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
First open-air game of the season here at Rogers Center. Austin Jackson goes 2-5. Jackson 3 for 4 this afternoon. Pair of singles and a double. Scored a run, average up to 211. Jansen ahead 0-2. This is the second game of a 4-game series. The only time the Tigers will be at Rogers Center this summer. Blue Jays won last night 7-4. Jesse Litch with a fine starting performance. Set a new career high in strikeouts with 9. Isn't it interesting, Alan, how baseball is just so different from day to day. Blue Jays got 15 hits last night, looking for their first here this afternoon.
Trends don't seem to last long in this game. There are times as a team you'll start to get on a roll, and I don't know that anybody on the team can define as to why.
Go fly ball to Romero. Jackson's retired.
But you can feel it when a team starts winning 8, 10 or more in a row. You can feel it, and you feel like you're going to go out there and win every time. But I think this game, maybe more so than any other game, very tough to define, even when you're a part of the action, as to why you get some momentum going.
Generally, it revolves around starting pitching. When you look at starting pitching and they keep you in a game, I'll give you a great example of that. How about Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay started out 1-8. They have since gone 18-6 on the strength of their starting pitching.
1-8 with Manny Ramirez in the fold, and of course that's one change on their ball club. Hard to say that it impacted that team on the negative part to begin with, or positive since. But yeah, you can slam around 15-20 hits, and the next day have a no-no tossed your way, and that's just the nature of the game.
He's got Sizemore with a ball on the strike. Just off the plate outside.
Of course, sometimes you see the no-hitter come along when there's somebody on the mound that maybe doesn't have overpowering type stuff, and I think even the players will look at each other in the eyes and try to figure out what in the world is going on. But when there's a Justin Verlander on the hill throwing with the type of stuff we've seen today, I think players understand.
Well, you knew early on, and we thought we were going to have a whale of a pitching matchup. Ricky Romero retired the first 6 he faced. Verlander retired the first 6 he faced. And we were settled in for a pitcher's duel.
Verlander at that point hadn't yet been informed that something special was on the way, and once he got that memo, he dialed it up to 100 and 101 pretty consistently with the heater.
There have been 227 no-hitters in the history of baseball in the modern era. That was pretty close.
Good pitch from Casey. Yeah, 6 of which came last year. One of those in the postseason by Halladay, and 2 of the 6 last year, perfect games.
Francisco Liriano with the no-hitter for the Minnesota Twins, and that might be the most surprising no-hitter given the way Liriano had thrown into that game. He had an ERA over 9.
Yeah, that'll come to surprise, no doubt about it. But Liriano, a guy who in the past has had no-hit type stuff.
Casper Wells swings at the first pitch and lifts it into center. Wells' first at bat results in a fly out to center field. 2 down.
First baseman, Verlander.
Interesting how it goes. You get in a game like this, and I think even Blue Jays fans are sitting back thinking, okay, let's finish this half of the inning and then see what really happens.
Miguel Cabrera 0 for 3 with a walk. 2 outs, 2 on. Top of the 9th inning. Justin Verlander just popped out onto the dugout bench. Last complete game no-hitter, Justin Verlander. Against the Brewers, June 12th, 2007.
What's going through the mind of Justin Verlander?
Now you can see Jackson and Wells are talking to one another right around Verlander.
Yeah, and he may be one of those guys who enjoys having guys around him. It would appear to be the case.
Bases are loaded with the walk issued to Cabrera. A tough day for John Farrell. Ricky Romero on the extra couple of days of rest. Looked fine, looked healthy. Very good first 2 innings, and then kind of lost it. Hit a batter in the second, walked a batter, and eventually walked 2 and gave up a 3 spot in the 3rd inning.
I think some of the shots we had of Verlander there in the dugout would indicate that he's willing to engage with teammates, if not verbally, at least with his eyes, and maybe have some smiles with them.
And a base hit to left field off the bat of Victor Martinez. 1 run is in. They'll stop the runner Sizemore at 3rd. Inch scores. It's 8-0 Tigers. Verlander going down to congratulate Brandon Inge for scoring the run. Victor Martinez, his 2nd RBI of the afternoon.
I don't know if I've seen that happen before. I'm sure it happens, but in the no-hitters that I've been involved in, where that pitcher just hunkers down and you don't mess with him.
Justin Verlander's pretty well grounded. And he's thrown a no-hitter before. That helps. First pitch strike to Johnny Peralta. Peralta had one of the 2 home runs off Ricky Romero in the 4th inning. He had a 1-out home run, and then Alex Avila would hit a 2-run home run, also with 1 out. Bases are loaded. 2 outs. Another base hit to left field. Sizemore will come in, and again they're going base to base. 2 runs here in the ninth.
Verlander's probably thinking, enough's enough, guys. Let me get on with this thing. Pretty impressive that a pitcher in his spot right now would get in and high-five teammates for their offensive exploits.
Well, Casey Jansen will be lifted as John Farrell comes out. It'll be Octavio Dotel coming out of the Blue Jays bullpen, trying to end the top of the ninth. So you know what? I'm going to wait this one out downstairs. His team has scored 2 runs here in the inning. Octavio Dotel will come out of the bullpen with 2 outs. The bases are still loaded. Dotel in his 11th appearance of the season will try to end this top half of the ninth inning. Casey Jansen, 2/3 of an inning, gave up a couple hits and walked 3. 2 runs are his responsibility, as are the base runners on base.
Are those nerves taking Verlander in and out of the dugout? Or, well, it actually is a very lonely world for most pitchers in that position. Verlander trying to be a part of the team, but you know he's deep inside his head.
Well, he certainly has been impressive. Dotel throws a first pitch strike to Ryan Rayburn. Tigers have scored 9 runs on 11 hits. Oh, 2. Verlander just trying to stay loose. Been a long half inning.
I've never seen that. It looked like he was maybe trying to stretch the fingers, putting them under the thigh and pulling on them.
I think it's all just nerves.
Could very well be.
Just sitting there anxious to get back out on the mound.
You know, pitchers have their routines they go through as they pull the fingers back toward the forearm and try to stretch the hand out, and I wonder if that was a version of that.
Ball and 2 strikes. Cut on and missed. Tigers are retired here in the ninth. They scored 2 more runs, and Verlander will go to the bottom of the ninth with a no-hitter intact. Only 1 base runner has reached. 1-0. Justin Verlander. 8 innings, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, just 98 pitches, and the Blue Jays have been held hitless. Verlander threw a no-hitter in 2007 at Comerica Park against Milwaukee. Virgil Trucks is the only Tiger pitcher with 2 no-hitters. And they both came in 1952. Trucks no-hit the Washington Senators at Briggs Stadium, and also threw a no-hitter August of '52 against the New York Yankees in New York. Both of those games for Trucks 1-0 no-hitters. Bottom of the 9th, Cooper, McDonald, Davis, the scheduled batters. First pitch popped up. Infield converging behind the mound. Second baseman Sizemore makes the catch.
I think that left-handed bat of David Cooper kind of looked, as you set up this 9th inning, maybe the one guy who would have a real good shot at getting an early fastball. He got one at 97, which is almost the changeup recently here from Verlander.
1 out. John McDonald struck out and hit a little grounder in front of home plate. Curveball and a nasty one. 1-1. We've just been informed that Adam Lynn was indeed removed from the game with lower back tightness.
Well, that would explain coming out of the box very slowly and just kind of jogging up that first base line.
Sizemore. McDonald's retired.
Most of the time you'll watch pitchers let ground balls go by the mound so the infielders can be sure to make the play and not see a ball knocked down by a pitcher turn into an infield single. Not so here with Verlander. He says, if this is going to get broken up, I am going to be a 5th infielder that will be a part of things anyway.
Davis cued it off the end of the bat. Number 9 hitter Rajai Davis. Verlander has faced the minimum. He walked Uncevia with 1 out in the 8th and got a double play. The seats. 1-2, 2 outs.
It would appear the Blue Jays fans have seized the moment and are even trying to encourage Verlander.
Davis hanging tough, finds it out of play.
Or am I simply reading that wrong? Are they just standing and trying to root for that possibility still of a base hit?
Lots of Tiger fans here, as there always are. Way outside, 2-2.
You would think with there having already been a walk that Verlander wouldn't just give in with a fastball or anything for that matter right through the heart of the plate.
There it is, the no-hitter for Justin Verlander. Just his 4th strikeout of the afternoon.
Well, you've ever been a part of one. I don't know that you can quite get into that inner circle, but twice now for Verlander, and it's justified with that kind of stuff.
Justin Verlander's second no-hitter of his career. Just the second no-hitter at Rogers Center.
And now he can actually talk with teammates. Wow.
The seventh no-hitter in Detroit franchise history. There's Jim Leyland. You can bet he's happy for his big right-hander.
Classy move by Leland to let the teammates get out there and celebrate first and then bring it toward his ace right-hander.
There's his pitching coach, Rick Knapp, enjoying that. Jeff Jones, the bullpen coach, and once again, his catcher, Alex Avila.
Alex Avila will never forget that day.
Verlander given an ice bath by a teammate.
It's nice when you share with the broadcasters in your joy.
Now it's time for the play of the game, brought to you by Rogers. Hello, Speed Boost. Goodbye, waiting another first.